What's up, Deuterinos, and welcome back to another episode of the Game Addicts podcast, show where we talk about the modern and retro video games that we play and collect, as well as dive deep into some of my favorite video games, characters, story, and lore. I'm your player one, Brando, and joining me here today is a very special player two, Tyler.
This is my favorite podcast to do.
Well, I'm very honored. I am very honored. That really makes my heart feel full. And you know what, guys, I just want to get this out of the way right off the bat. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you know I haven't made any sort of other announcement here on the show. I actually was going to, and then you know what? Here we are. We're doing an episode. I'm going through some personal stuff. My dad passed away almost 2 weeks ago. In fact, by the time this episode airs, it will have been 2 weeks ago. I posted up a update on Twitter saying that I'm going to be taking some step back and don't know. I'll be back, but don't know when. And just like before, when I've said that once before, it's like within 2 weeks, I'm sitting down doing another gaming podcast. But guys, this is a little bit different. It's a bit heavy, you know. It's a bit heavy on my heart. I really thank Tyler so much for being here today.
Happy to do it.
The show wouldn't be happening now if it wasn't for Tyler. If I didn't have somebody to bounce off of and I just had to sit here and talk to a camera, it'd be difficult for me to do so right now. I've got so many things that are like emotions and everything like that I've been going through since then. But I wanted to get back into it a little bit just to start acclimatizing myself to a back of normalcy, you know, a type of normal, if that can be considered. It's awful. It was unexpected. It was heartbreaking. But he was an awesome man. He was an awesome dad. And I live every single day hoping that I can be just one iota of the dad that he was to me, to my kids, that I can be to my kids. And if I can do that, then I will have succeeded, because that guy gave me everything. There's so many gaming memories that I have that are directly associated with him, even though he wasn't a gamer. So many of them throughout the years. You know, he got me a lot of stuff. You know, he got me my entire early PlayStation stuff. So a lot of stuff is connected with him in a way, you know.
Right.
So it's like sitting down and doing this. If I don't sound my usual, like, let's get up and let's get at him, punch you in the face energy that I like to start to show off with, just to get you guys like into the mood, that's just because this is weird. Sitting down to do anything right now other than mope is weird.
Right.
But thank you so much, Tyler, again, for coming on the show.
Welcome.
It'll make this process easier. And thank you, all of you guys out there, for listening and giving me all those downloads. I am so thankful for each and every one of you guys, because it seems like I can take a little bit of time off and go away, and I get back and I have even more downloads, and that's very touching, you know, to know that one of our higher downloaded episodes in the last little while was 3 hours long of me and Mike discussing Final Fantasy VII Remake. This 3-hour podcast, you know, that's no joke. To sit down and there was stuff that we left out. There was stuff that we didn't get to that we were like, all right, we just got to start wrapping this stuff up because we've been back here talking for so long. But
I'm really looking forward to actually getting to listen to that episode, because I wanted to, dive feet first into Final Fantasy VII Remake before. I wanted to experience it organically.
Yeah.
And I haven't played Final Fantasy VII. I mean, I played Dirge of Cerberus, but I haven't played Final Fantasy VII anything since I played the original in 2002 or 3. Like, it was a long fucking time ago.
Sure.
So I wanted to play through and experience it all organically before you and Mike ripped it apart, not negatively, but really like broke it down to the atom
Mm-hmm.
for 3 hours. So I'm looking forward to listening to that here soon.
Well, what's really awesome is that, before what was considered as the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, the original game, Advent Children, before Crisis, which we didn't get over here, it was a cell phone game that followed the Turks before the events of FF7.
Gotcha.
Crisis Core, which was on the PSP, that followed Zack before the events of FF7, and in fact encompass a major event that is referenced and is a core piece of FF7, is at the very end of that game. And then, of course, Dirge of Cerberus, which was like set after Advent Children, so it's like a sequel to the sequel, but it's like separate, segmented story that's a part of it. It gets a little convoluted, not so much that's hard to follow, but it's just how they kind of bounced around in the story and telling different parts of it to be an additive, because they wanted to add and expand that original game, And what they've done with that, it's really cool because they've once again expanded on that original story and characters a lot. And a lot of the stuff they expanded on it's great because they added characterization to characters who are just barely there in the original. But now they're not. Now they're bigger characters. Now they have drive. They have a reason. They have backstory. And they, like Jessie, one of the like the girl in Avalanche, she has an entire backstory now.
Cool.
As to why she's doing what she's doing and what she was doing before. And that is amazing. And they actually given her characterization. And by the way, she's flirty as hell and thirsty. She is thirsty as hell for Cloud, which is hilarious. Which is hilarious. But they've also encompassed the compilation of FF7 and smashed it and said, okay, here it is. If we're going to remake the game, we're going to cut all the stuff that we've added to it. We're going to kind of compile it and treat it as if this is kind of your first time viewing it, but it's all together for you, So that was great. I actually platinumed FF7 Remake.
Good. I was going to ask you if you got the platinum finally.
So I only have 4 platinums, and 3 of them are really easy platinums to get. They're like The Walking Dead Season 1, the Game of Thrones Telltale series, Batman Telltale series. It's the platinums you get just for participating. I have 3 participation platinums in my arsenal that I pinned to my chest. But I fought for that FF7 platinum.
That's good.
When I realized I had done so much after 2.5 playthroughs, because I did my first playthrough, and once you beat the game, this isn't a spoiler, you can chapter select and go all the way back. You can go to wherever you want. Now, in order for your progress to kind of save, you kind of do have to complete the chapter, but your experience and your AP for your materia and your equipment and your items all carry over. So I just went right back to the beginning and played it through on the second time, demolishing stuff on my second playthrough. Until I got to a certain point near the end. But then it's like, because I didn't even reach, I think level 50 is the max. I didn't even reach that in my first playthrough. I got to 30-something. I reached it on my second, or damn near. And then on my third playthrough, I went through on hard mode, which is a challenge in itself. You're not allowed to use items in hard mode, and your MP does not regenerate in, like, it regenerates once, and that's at the beginning of a new chapter.
I was going to say, does it at the end or start of a chapter?
Because spread throughout, instead of save points, they have save benches. It's not even save benches. It's basically a bench with the save logo on it next to a vending machine. And Cloud will sit down, and it'll restore your HP and MP. And at the vending machine, you can buy items. They'll even have specials that at each vending machine almost, where it's like, hey, for a discounted price, you could get 3 mega potions. So you might as well buy them because, like, right there, okay, cool, I got some more mega potions. But with hard mode, you cannot. You have to manage what spells you use and where. So it's better to not use them and save it for the boss. Which sometimes the boss will be at the end of a chapter. Sometimes it'll be at the beginning of a chapter. It just depends on the flow of the ebb and flow of the story. Because they've added new bosses that weren't in the original game to stretch out the story. That's a 30-hour story, 35 hours. I think it took me 35 or 36 hours to beat the game. But originally, that chunk of the game original was like 10 hours.
Right.
So they've had to expand it a bit, especially the stuff that you play through. It was a challenge of my wit and of my of my wit and grit. I'm thankful that I had 2 playthroughs beforehand, so I kind of knew what to expect and where. And also, my first playthrough of the game, I was pretty, what should I say, not tuned into the tactics. I was just haphazardly making my way through the game like Nate is doing right now. Nate's playing it. And I feel like I had a good handle on things until I realized I didn't learn all of the abilities, because you get weapons, and each weapon gets you an ability that you can learn. And like FF9, when you get AP and FF9, and you have that ability forever. Mm-hmm. With this one, you use that ability 10 times, you have it forever. So even if you switch to a new weapon, and you also can upgrade each weapon using SP to get more materia slots, to get more attack, to get more magic attack or defense. And some weapons are more geared towards magic spells, some more geared for more physical damage. It's like, so you have choice and customization a bit for each. However, hard mode will test you because you have to be patient. And there is a special VR simulator in the Shinra headquarters. I'm not going into big spoilers for this because this is extra stuff that you can do. And you get one battle. It's called Top Secret. And you unlock it after you beat the game once. And it's instant hard mode. So even if you weren't playing on hard, you can only play this challenge in hard. Mm-hmm. And you have to do 5 battles in a row. Okay. And they're hard as shit. They get progressively hard too, So Shiva, you have to fight Shiva. All right. You have to fight Fat Chocobo. All right, cool. These are battles that, to get summons in the game, you'll eventually have to fight these summons in like a VR simulator, and then the material will be developed and you can have it. But for this challenge, you have to fight them back to back, and your HP and MP will only heal 50% after each one. So you have to be careful and set yourself up right. I was stuck on that challenge for a week. A week.
Those type of challenges in games are tough because it's, you have to have a lot of strategy and you have to think ahead, and the AI has to perform a very particular way for certain scenarios to play out the way that they should.
Well, and I watched videos of strategy. It didn't work for me. A lot of that stuff did not work. What I did is I think I watched and put my own stuff into it, like 4 different strategy videos, and then what I've learned from my own, and try to figure it out. Because Battle 3 is Leviathan. Mm-hmm. He's pretty tough. Right. Not honestly, that one's more endurance. I felt like other people were trying to get him done quick. For me, I had to do endurance with him, because when I tried to just hit him hard, he would just like combat me back. And it didn't work for me. But it's the 4th battle that I was stuck on for a week, Tyler. Bahamut. Now, to say he hits like
everybody's favorite summon.
To say that he hits like a truck is a understatement, okay?
He is the truck.
He is the damn truck, because the most that you can do, he's not really weak to anything. Mm-mm. Like, you just have to have grit, and you're using your magic attacks. Now, this is your 4th battle. You've already used magic. So you don't have all of your MP they have to conserve. And literally, when you're using Aga spells, Firaga, you're just trying to stop him from moving for a second. That's all you're doing, is they let yourself breathe. When you get his health halfway down, he summons Ifrit. So you have Bahamut and Ifrit against you. Ifrit by himself isn't that bad. Yeah. But when you're like, I got to focus on, because then what's Bahamut doing? He's counting down from 5. And then, after a while, then he'll do 4. What happens when he hits 0? Mega Flare. What does Mega Flare do? Quad 9 damage. Instantly kills you. Even if you're maxed out with maxed health, you are dead. Right. There are ways that you can survive it with earrings that let you live. Your weapons, your last weapons for each character, you can unlock a skill called Reprieve if you have that weapon equipped, which will revive you for 1 death per battle, and with 1 health. So if you survive Bahamut Mega Flare with 1 health, you have a very minimal amount of time to do anything before he or Ifrit is up your ass.
Right up your ass.
And so it was just the other day. I'm working it, man, because I found out a little thing. I'm like, Ifrit's doing fire damage. If I put elemental fire on Cloud, any attack Ifrit does to Cloud cures him. So that was my strategy.
I thought you were going to say you got out your Game Shark.
I wish I would. I miss Game Sharks, man. But
take that, Bahamut.
Man, I just was like, he was counting down. He was at 1, and I am just like yelling and hitting him with everything I had. And I just so lucky. I happened to get Cloud's limit, and I beat him. And I'm like, he was the only one left standing, and I had like 1,000 health. I'm like, I did it! And then there's a round 5.
Oh no!
And it's I don't know if you remember FF7 original, but there's that one Shinra weapon near the end of the game called Proud Claude, big tall robot thing.
Yeah.
It's basically a version of that. It's called Pride and Joy, and he has a move that'll kill you in 1 hit. If he grabs you and he's able to hold on to your character for long enough, he kills them instantly. Other than that, he's just kind of annoying. I beat him on my first try. Because I was able to keep people alive barely enough to just keep whittling away. And then I had to finish the game after that. So there were a couple challenging battles after that challenged me. Not as bad. None of those were nearly as bad as that. There was only one battle that I failed, and it was almost like I failed it on purpose because I forgot to re-equip something to somebody, and I'm like, damn it, I forgot that. And I'm like, let me try this. Okay, he beat me. Let me put this. Okay, and then I had a second chance to kind of re-equip. All right, now let's go. And then I was able to muscle through. But I got it. I got my fucking platinum. And
good. Congratulations.
It was an accomplishment. See, now I don't know what to do with my life. I can truly say that there was a part of me that was going to shoot for that anyway, but after everything with Dad, I almost that was kind of like my escape. Ironically, I'm beating my head up against the wall because I'm getting frustrated doing it. Like every night that I couldn't do it, I was just frustrated. So like, why am I doing this to myself? But it was that payoff that when I did it, and quite literally, how many times do you literally like have such a reaction that you're like, like loud enough to where I'm in the living room by myself and my oldest comes out and goes, "What's wrong, Dad?" I'm like, "Nothing, buddy, nothing. I'm fine. Woo, everything's fine. All right." Round 5. Here we go. And
now you truly understand why I've played each Dark Souls game like 21 times.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, there's something awesome about that accomplishment. Other people have done it. Nate is still stuck on a battle, and I instantly start telling him, do this, because I'm telling him my hard mode strategy, and he's on normal. So I was like, if that worked for me on hard, it's got to work for you on normal.
Right.
But that's what I've been playing, and then I actually do have a subscription to PS Now. They were on sale like a month ago, and I picked me up a subscription because they dropped the price down to like $10 a month. And I'm like, you know what? There's a few games this year that I'm definitely going to be playing that we're going to be talking about, at least one of them here today, probably, or 2 maybe. But it's like, all right. But in the meantime, when I don't know what I want to play, let's just cruise. Let's see what's out there. Stuff I haven't played. So today, I started playing Saints Row 4.
How are you liking that? I have never played a Saints Row game.
It is beyond ridiculous, and that's half the fun of it. It is. Okay. It knows it's ridiculous. 110%.
Because the whole concept of the game is it's a parody of Grand Theft Auto, right?
You know what? In a way, it didn't really start off that way. It just started going more cartoony with it, and then they got to this one or a 3 or whatever, and they were like, "Let's just go full bore." Like literally in the 4th one, you've risen the Saints from being just a gang, and now you're the president of the United States. Aliens attack. And you get abducted, and you're put into a simulation like the Matrix.
Okay.
And you're able to hack into it or through somebody's help and give yourself superpowers. So literally, you're running through like the Flash with like super jump speed, and you're just like there's also cheats that I just typed in because I don't give a crap. I'm not trying to legitimately play this game. I'm just doing it to have fun. And I'm like, are there cheats? Yes, there are. Bunch of money, all my upgrades. Okay, so the only thing that I didn't do is unlock certain superpowers. So I figured I can just go around and find the things that I need for that. Mm-hmm. But it just like whip out dual, killing aliens, killing everybody. It's absolutely stupid and ridiculous, and it's aware of it. And also, when you create your character, you can do male, female, different voices for each. So it's like male 1, male 2, male 3, Nolan North. It literally just says Nolan North. I dig it. And it's Nolan North's voice, and you can select different pitches, so you can make him sound like he's on helium or like really low, there's another gas that you can kind of huff, and it changes your voice to be lower. But quite literally, there's just stuff that, like when you get inserted into the Matrix, it's like the 1950s world, and like your dude hops out of bed, and it's like the 1950s, and it's like, and the default walk for him is going, and you're like, and he's sliding down the step pole, and it's like, and it says leave it to the saints, and instead of leave it to Beaver, and you got a wife, and she's like a 1950s housewife, and you're strolling out to get the paper. And then the local town sheriff meets you. He's like, hey, you should come. President should come down and meet some of the local folk. They're dying to meet you. And it's like, and it gives you a little cue for getting in the car. It's like, get into the car. Press R2 to safely accelerate. Press L2 to stop at all stop signs. And then you're going through, and then he gets out of the car, and he's like waving, hey, everybody.
Wow.
And then one of his teammates hacks in and is talking to him and trying to get him out, and the simulation is combating them doing that, and so the police shows up, so he starts killing the cops, and then you just start killing all the cops, and then it's like you get a rocket launcher and you have to cause $100,000 worth of damage, so you're just shooting everything. and then the sheriff shows up, and he's basically like Agent Smith. You have to kill Agent Smith with and it's ridiculous, but that's part of the fun, I guess, of this game. Is like, it's so ridiculous, so over the top, that it is what it is. And that's exactly what I've said. There's a reason why I decided not to try to go the long route and play the game and get all the, work hard for my money, work hard for my progression, because quite literally the game that I need right now is the kind of game where I can just sit back and laugh and just destroy everything without working for it, because I don't want to play this game for like 2 months trying to do everything. Yeah. And right now, this is the game in the meantime that's just I'm gonna sit down, laugh at everything, because there was a part where I'm cruising around in the car, and Paula Abdul, Opposites Attract, comes on. Okay. And Nolan North's like, oh, I love this song. And the girl's like, what? He's like, opposites attract. Come on. She's like, oh my God, I want to die. He's like, you're no fun. He's singing with the radio. Like, they actually made certain dialogue for that kind of stuff, and nice. I'm liking it. And then the alien speaks perfect English. The lead alien, they invade the White House. You fight your way outside the White House, and there's the mothership, and then a huge blaster cannon comes up from the side of the White House, and you run and you jump on it. You're shooting down all these ships. It's like, what? There's a weapon called Murica, where it's like a flamethrower, Gatling gun, something else, all in one. A Gatling gun. And it's like when you fire it, it shoots off fireworks, and it's like playing like American music.
Oh my God, that's so ridiculous.
Apparently Roddy Piper's in the game. You can hang out with Roddy Piper. You can even buy his outfit for your character with the hot rod and the kilt. I'm like, oh my gosh, this game is ridiculous. I love it.
I gotta play it now.
Oh man, I'm like, because here's the thing. I never really played the Saints Row series. I played a little bit of 2 when it came out. I played a little bit of 3 when it was on PS Plus. and the intro of that was like out over the top. I'm like, yeah, this was fun for a weekend. And
Right.
when I remember playing this back when I first tried out PS Now on like over the stream, and was just like, this is crazy. And I don't even think I made it out of the White House, because today I'm sitting down playing it, got to the 50s world, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. And of course, it's like, what kind of a world do they give you where you're just running around like the Flash and
Right.
jumping around, but it's like a made up world, and fun. But what have you been playing?
Here recently, I've just kind of been wandering. I've
Mm-hmm.
tried a lot of lesser known games from Game Pass, some good, some bad. None really that are good enough I would throw out. Like Stellaris it's
Mm-hmm.
an RTS style game that is the one that I've really really enjoyed, but I've tried to play it with friends of mine too, and it's a game that like I really just like to sit down. It's got a really really good soundtrack, so like sit down, either crank my surround sound or put my headphones on, and then just like take 4 or 5 hours and just do it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I know 4 or 5 hours from now I want to have a federation with these other three species that are close to me in the solar system or whatever. It's really fun to um micromanage things when they're not things that stress you out like
Yeah,
real life. Um
absolutely.
but here recently I've been playing a lot of Apex again. It feels like every couple of times I'm on the show we're talking about Apex Legends again.
Right.
They just recently dropped the new season on Monday or Tuesday. It's season 5. They added a new legend. They tweaked some of the existing legends. They made the legend that I like to play, Mirage, finally good and usable. So it's been really fun. That's realistically what I've spent the majority of my time doing. Is hiding, detaching from reality, and playing Apex.
So you mentioned Game Pass, and Game Pass
Mm-hmm.
just added Final Fantasy IX to the lineup on Xbox.
Okay, looks like I'll be playing that.
It's also on Xbox and PC. So
Cool.
so for both,
Oh, I might play it on PC.
yeah,
That'd be fun.
yeah, but it is the remastered version they came out with just a couple years ago now. I remember I got that day one on PS4.
I remember
Uh,
because that was one of the things that you and I built our friendship upon.
mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you like Final Fantasy? Yeah. Which one's your favorite? 9. Okay, we're friends now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can just adore FF7 all I want. It's my first and my favorite game of all time. But I'm not going to sit here and argue and say that 7 is a better game than 9. That's just not going to happen. 9 is a better made game. It's a better thought out, and in fact, there's so much story stuff they left out of it. That like you kind of wish they would have been able to do more, because I feel like both 7 and 9 suffer from the fact that the stories mean more the more research you do about the story, the more that you know. Like, they added stuff to 7 to help pad it out and flesh it out, stuff that they couldn't tell you, stuff that they forgot to say, or stuff that they thought that would fit good with it. How cool would that be if they were able to do that with Expand 9, especially with all these characters? Because I kind of see 9, there are main characters, but there's a lot of great characters that are not even with you in your party that are just great characters
Right.
in the game. And go check that out. If you've never played Final Fantasy 9 and you have Game Pass, now is your chance. It's an older game. It's a bit slow. I will say the battle system, when I went back to it, like, I cranked it up full speed and it was still on the bit slow side. So you got to be patient, but it's definitely there on Game Pass. And they also added Red Dead Redemption right at the beginning of the month. They took GTA 5 off Game Pass,
Yep.
but GTA 5 is somewhere else. Did you hear about this?
It's free on Epic Game Store, right?
For a week until May 21st, GTA 5 is free. FREE. That spells free.
CreditReport.com, baby.
Yeah. And Epic Game Store crashed yesterday because
There's so many downloads.
Yeah, like, Chris, we're recording this on Friday, Friday the 15th, but it went, like, so many people were just hounding it. I actually did go on and I did redeem it. because why not? I
Right.
might as well. I've got the laptop, and I did the benchmark, and I can play it at 1080p at 60 frames.
Cool.
And I sat there and hooked up my Xbox controller and played a little bit at the beginning. My legs were sweaty because I was sitting in my chair with my laptop tray or like kind of like
Lap desk.
lap desk, and this thing was going. It was like it was blowing some hot air on me. But really, the cool thing is that, like, will I play it that much on PC? I don't know. But what's going to be cool is when I can figure out how to do some of these mods
Mm-hmm.
and do some of that stuff with it. And if I can figure that out, that's going to be the really cool moment for me, is because I've seen so many people have like the fire brigade mod, where they literally play as the fire department responding to fires
Mm-hmm.
and police doing police stuff. And whereas the mods and stuff like that have existed in like the online realm, and they've done role playing, they've actually made it to where it's available offline. And so it literally has like an AI in there with crimes, and you can respond or what, and you can actually be in a certain area. It's really freaking cool, all the stuff they've been able to do with GTA 5. And I was a little worried about how my computer, because my computer's a pretty good one, but it is a few years old. But I also have to tell myself, in reality, GTA 5 on PC released in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 6 years old almost. So there shouldn't be that much of a difference of, I should be able to play the game. And I can. I experienced no slowdown. There was nothing. Like, I ran the benchmark on it, so it set itself up, and I only tweaked it a little bit after that. It's like, I can do this because it's not going to take that much more memory to do that. Because for me, I don't need blow away graphics. For my games, I need it to look good enough. But
Right.
but there's a couple of games, and I'm sorry for just switching topics here right off the
Oh,
bat,
you're all right.
because these just fit right into each other. Did you see the little reveal for the Mafia remake?
No, absolutely. That looks incredible.
Yeah, so I think they're all coming out in August, and it's going to be a trilogy. 2 is going to be a remaster, and then 3 was released on the PS4, or Xbox One already. So it's just going to be like a game of the year. Everything's packed in. They might have went back and touched it up a tad, but Mafia 1 is getting a full-blown remake, and it will release on August 28th this year.
Yeah, I most certainly will pick that up when it comes out, because I remember playing the first Mafia game, because right around that time, a Godfather video game came out too,
Yep.
and jumping back and forth and kind of comparing and contrasting those games, I remember how fun, and how much immersion, it's such a weird immersion is such a weird word.
God, that
Um,
screenshot. I loaded up one of the screenshots.
yeah, I'm looking at them right now. Like, are you looking at the one where like the table is on fire, and I mean it just looks incredible. It looks like they're in maybe like a barber shop or a
Mm-hmm.
restaurant. The fucking place is on fire.
Yes.
There's people cowering. Like the cars. I mean, look how incredible the cars look.
I know, man. I know.
I am. This might be. Obviously we've got The Last of Us next month. We've got Ghost of Tsushima towards the end of the summer. Like there's I still want to play Doom Eternal and Final Fantasy 7 remake, and I think I'm gonna give Death Stranding a try, even though like at launch I said I kind of was just gonna pretend it didn't exist. You know, I want to play this more than I want to play like Doom Eternal.
Oh,
Like this just looks incredible.
So I never actually played the original 2 Mafia games. My good buddy Silent Rob did, and I
Mhm.
watched him play a little bit of the first one, and then he got the second one. I never really watched him play it, but it was as I said, I have PlayStation now,
Mhm.
and I as I said, I got it. First off, I got it as a free trial because I tried it out, and accidentally let it roll over into a month subscription like a year and a half ago, whatever, and was like, damn it! So I got it for a month for $20. So great. But back in February, I got an email or a notification on PlayStation where it's like, hey, we've revamped now, and we want you to give it another try. So I'm like, all right. And during that time period, I was waiting for FF7 to come out, and of course we had just started quarantine or whatever, and so I downloaded Mafia 3 and started playing it out of the blue. Like I've never played any of these. I just want to see what's about, and I got sucked into it. I thought it was really cool.
Mafia 3 is the one that takes place in the South, right?
You play it as a black veteran coming back from Vietnam.
Yeah, I never played that one.
And the thing is that they put a warning in front of it saying that there is depictions of racism because they went for an accurate portrayal of the South. And so there's even places you can't that colors are not allowed. Specifically, it says a sign, no colored allowed. And if you go in there, they will confront you and tell you to leave. And if you don't, they'll call the cops. And I'm like, wow, that is like that, dude. That is some hard hitting stuff because, like racism is still something that still exists today, right. and like in our current world, and to just portray this and it's just be so raw. But what I thought was really cool about it is that from a player perspective, they put you in that position because not as us being white, there's not too many examples where we told get out of my store because of your skin color. A lot of times we're not. I mean, most of the time we're not discriminated upon because of that. Just on that level, boom, we don't like you, go, leave. Know, so that it almost kind of it humanizes that aspect of what a lot of people went through, especially during that time. 40s, 50s, 60s, when segregation was still a thing. And I thought it was really neat touch. The soundtrack is amazing. It's 60s, late 60s soundtrack with lots of CCR, James Brown, Johnny Cash, Aretha Franklin. That's all there. So I'm sitting there just cruising down the streets, going to place, and it's like music is awesome. I can't get enough of it. A little bit of Jimi Hendrix in there too, like awesome. And
awesome.
And like you play as a dude, get back from the war, and the guy who brought him in when he was like an orphan, got him set up, and then he went off the war, came back. Well, he's involved with the mafia and some organized crime stuff, and he owes money, and the mafia ends up killing everybody, and you live.
Oh.
You take a gunshot right to the head and just live, and it grazes, and
wowzers.
And they leave you for dead. They think you're dead, but you live, and then when you get back, you're like, I'm killing them all. So in Mafia 3, you work your way up to kill everybody. So it's like you start taking down their rackets. You start putting new people in charge of those rackets, and you literally you have a kill list of people working your way up to the top of the list, to the dawn. And it's a different perspective of the Mafia type story that you would be in the Mafia working your way up, instead of now you're working up to take them down. Cool. It's very cool. And as I said, I was all into it, and then FF7 came out, and now I want to get back to it, but it's been like a full month. So I'm like, so I went to Saints Row, and my wife's like, I thought you'd go back to Mafia. I'm like, I will. I definitely will. But now this is coming out, and this is coming out, as we said, after Last of Us, after Ghosts, but before Cyberpunk. The thing is that, these screenshots of the first Mafia look amazing. I do believe, like, is the price point going to be $60 for all three?
I actually didn't see a price point when I looked, so I don't know. Maybe that information was there and I just glazed over it, but I have not seen one yet.
I hear kids. Right outside my door. I'm hearing woo, woo, woo. I'm like, yep, something's going on out there. I'm clicking on a list up. Nope. The listing got leaked and then they announced it. So that's what it was. The spilled beans came away with Microsoft Store, which went live with the listing for the game early, which included listing of screenshots that confirm it's not a remaster but a remake. And so they're like, surprise.
We made this.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is that with a lot of stuff is being announced separately. Like Jeff Keighley is doing the Summer Games Fest, which for a whole summer long, instead of having E3, he's going to help announce a lot of these different stuff. And there's another game that's getting the remake, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Yeah, I did not expect that. That came out of nowhere.
I know. So apparently this got leaked out. Tony Hawk was actually texting people about it. He actually met up with Jack Black before the pandemic and let him play it and let him know on it, because literally the day that they announced it, Jack Black uploaded his video. And Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 are going to be released on September 4th. And from what I understand, the remake is being handled by the same team at Activision that did the Crash Bandicoot and Crash Team Racing remake.
Oh, awesome.
So, because my concern was, Tony Hawk 5 came out and stumbled completely. Like, it just was like, man, this is like, and apparently they patched it and it's better. But it's like once you kind of stumble very badly where people just kind of like don't want to look at it again, it's hard to recapture that same crowd. And so far it looks really good. And I'm hoping that it's like, hey, keep the same kind of play style. It looks phenomenal graphically. Like I saw that trailer. It was like, wow. Like they are doing and hopefully, the team handling it is that other team that is like, hey, we remade these other games, did a good job with it. Let's handle this. And then they've got a pretty good soundtrack of tracks that were in the first 2 games. And so hopefully it has the same feel. And one thing that I did see, I wonder how they're handling it, because I noticed when Jack Black and them played the game, when they would crash and go to stand back up, they would almost like glitch out. Like it looked like they were like maybe in like a simulation. So I wonder if like this whole like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remake type thing will be like they have to go back and redo part of however they're going to do it. It just I noticed that little thing about it, but I'm excited for it. This is something I was not expecting. Like you said, it came out of nowhere, and it's going to be $40, so it's not going to break the bank either.
Yeah, it's totally reasonable. I mean, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of shitlords on the internet the last couple days that are like, Tony Hawk 1 and 2 is cool, but like give us American Wasteland. Is that the whatever that one is?
There's that one. Like
Tony Hawk's Underground.
Underground 1 and 2, yeah.
Yep. Like give us Underground instead. Like I have so much nostalgia when it comes to Tony Hawk 1 and 2
Same.
that like if another Tony Hawk game never gets made again, like just keep remastering 1 and 2. That's all we want.
Did you hear the story about Tony Hawk telling the story about how the game changed his life?
No.
He was on some podcast or something. And they were sitting down and talking about the video game, and they're like, "Did the video game change your life?" He goes, "Yeah." he goes, "I can't remember if it was a third one or fourth one that was about to come out." And he had a meeting with a guy from Activision, went out to lunch and whatever. And they were like, hey, like these games are doing better than we ever could have imagined, and he goes, I just want to thank you so much for all your help and for making this into a thing and making us a lot of money. Here's your check. And he handed him a check for $4 million.
Jesus God.
And that was his royalty. He already got paid for his likeness and all that kind of stuff. And this was like,
right.
And so he's like, lunch is on me. I got it. And
wow.
and that was the beginning of it. He said that changed my life to where he didn't have to compete anymore for money. He didn't have to compete to support his family. He didn't have to do that anymore. His job became, the brand instead of just, trying to get out there. It's like, all right, I need to go out there. I need to try and compete and keep my name out there. And what's interesting is the day that the game was released, some kid posted a video of breaking Tony Hawk's record of the 900 and showing like the 1080 or whatever.
Wow.
Some like 12-year-old kid did it, and they posted a video up of it on Twitter. So it was kind of cool.
Awesome.
But I'm excited for that, dude. I truly am.
I am too. I think it'll be great.
As I said, I really do hope that they could just hit it right out of the park, because that's one thing that's going to help bring, if they want to try and use this as a dip the toe in the water to kind of revive that series a little bit, bring another game out at some point to kind of revive the skateboarding thing. It's like a good way to do it is to try and put out a good remake, just like the rumor is Activision's making a brand new Crash Bandicoot game. Why did that get made? It's because they tested the waters with doing the Insane trilogy. This trilogy had a lot of fondness in people's hearts, and they remade it and did well. And same with the new Crash Team Racing. It did well.
Hmm.
So we may be seeing more.
When Spyro did really
Hmm.
well too, right?
Yes, yes, it did. Yeah. So that we could be seeing a new Spyro game at some point. It could reinvigorate that brand. You know, um, as far as like um, remakes go, there was one that me and you had shared and shared with each other about a possible remaster of Mass Effect trilogy.
Hmm.
Buddy, I hope it's true. I hope it's
I hope
true.
it's true.
Um,
Because
there's.
go ahead.
I was just thinking that you know I'm currently for the sake of for the YouTube channel I'm playing through them and doing kind of like my lore run with the with the games, and I will say that Mass Effect 1 has aged pretty horribly. And
Yeah, it's bad. The last time I tried to play it, my game crashed like every 45 minutes. And at the least, it was more often than that. It just couldn't handle it.
it's not even just that. It's just like the controls are like, this is what
Hmm.
we know where we were going. We don't know how to get there yet. Mass Effect 2 they did. Gears of
Right.
War came out and changed the entire game for third person shooters. So they took part of that, put it with their stuff, and said, "Here we go, we have a game." And then they made 3. They improved upon it. They made Andromeda, improved upon it again. As
Oh
far as the
yeah.
gameplay goes, Andromeda is amazing, right? So, you know, part of it is for me. It's like, is this a remaster or is it a full remake? It's like, I think it's a remaster. If they're gonna do it, I don't think that. I mean, this is EA we're talking about. I would love for this to be like, instead of just a remaster of Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, let's remake all 3 games with the same game engine all the way through. Let's bring back as many of the original cast that we can bring back
Hmm.
to redo these lines. Maybe do exactly what others have done. Like maybe expand upon it, the story a little bit. Mass Effect 1, expand on the story with some of these characters. We got to know Garrus really well in throughout the trilogy, but like in the first one, it's only so much. Maybe do a little bit more. Maybe you know instead of the big empty barren planets you go to with the same square of land that you have to traverse with crazy
Hmm.
ass Mako, you take a little bit of what they did with Andromeda, where it's more fun to drive and more evened out and more fun to explore, but also not full of redundant crap to do. Where you're repeating this. I mean, Mass Effect 1 had its share. Go to a planet, go to a building. It's the same layout. Every building, every building on every planet has the exact same layout. You're going into one room. There's another room with a hallway that splits off into 2 rooms. Your objective is in one of those rooms.
Hmm.
So make it a little bit more palatable. But what it would also allow them to do would be to tweak the story a little bit. I know there's a lot of people who are very disappointed with the ending of Mass Effect 3. I'm not saying you have to completely change that ending, but you could add different endings. I mean, you could do whatever you wanted with it with a remake. You can be like, you know what, they really didn't like that. Let's have those there, as the endings, but let's add to it. Let's do this. Let's make making this choice mean something over here. Let's make making this choice mean something over here. Let's make this choice over here like instead of denial being absolute death, make denial mean you have to fight harder for something else.
Hmm.
I don't know. It just, when I started thinking about that, it it made me think about how like the ending of Mass Effect 3 was like the start of BioWare's stumble. Well maybe
Right.
Dragon Age 2 technically was, but Mass Effect 3 carried it over because of EA started limiting their development cycle, and it shows for every game that they've made since Dragon Age 2, terribly. But I just think it's a great chance to do that. Now, if it is just a remaster and it's just the same games, they look prettier, they run a little bit better, I'll buy them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let's just be honest and out in the open. Like we're gonna buy this no matter what. But
Yeah.
I think this is BioWare's chance at recapturing another generation of people the way
Mhm.
that they recaptured us, or not recapture the way that they captured and captivated us
Yeah.
as fans of video games and as fans of the franchise. I'm one of the people that defends Andromeda. I'm one of the people that defends Dragon Age 2. There is a good game there.
Yeah.
Obviously they you put it perfectly. That is the beginning of their stumble.
Yeah.
Um,
And they never
you
stop
know,
stumbling, unfortunately.
no,
I mean,
and
there's still some good games, as you said. Mass Effect 3 is a good game, even if you don't like the ending. It's a
absolutely.
fantastic game. Dragon Age Inquisition is a good game. Andromeda, for all its faults, is a pretty decent game.
Mhm.
But they're all surrounded by this lack of development.
Yep. They
And
just didn't have the time. They just didn't have the time. They
yeah,
didn't have the resources. And you had Big Brother standing over their shoulder saying, you know what? We don't like that. Start over. You know what? You're going to do what we say, or you're
mm-hmm.
not going to have a job. You're going to work 21 hours a day, or you can go home and not come back. Like, this is how it's going to go. It's going to go our way, or it's going to go no way. And it's very unfortunate. You talked about it when you and Nate did The Worst of Us. I listened to that right after you and I talked
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right right before basically right before the beginning of this month. And like, we have to find a happy medium where game quality continues to improve
Mm-hmm.
and people's lives are considered. The game developers that I bitch about all the time, and the publishers and the people making shit video games or great video games, like, it's just a job, man. Like, they're not to make my life miserable, and I'm as guilty as anybody. I forget that sometimes. I take it personally. Like, how could you do this?
Yeah.
But I think what EA and BioWare really, the opportunity that they have is to maybe not necessarily correct some mistakes, because I don't believe in that. The mistakes have been made and we need to acknowledge them and accept them. This gives you a chance to steer the ship down a little bit calmer waters and say, we know we messed up, but look at how much, look at what we did to this,
Yeah.
and look at what we can do going forward. And then they announce Mass Effect Andromeda 2, and then make that.
Well, honestly, I do want another Andromeda game because I think there's so much there that they can do a story with.
Exactly.
But also, like, as you said, like, making a game that's going to be attractive to bringing new fans in. Mass Effect 3 came out in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
8 years ago. That's a long time.
Right.
That's a generation ago. And these games have not been ported over. I mean, you can play them on backwards compat if you got Xbox or a PC. They're still there, but they're old games, so people aren't going to think about them. What's going to be is like, okay, a new coat of paint. Oh, wow, okay, I've never played this. I always wanted to, and then people will. And then they put Mass Effect 1 in, and it's going to be Mass Effect 1. They're going to be like, wow. Holy moly. That's why I'm hoping kind of for like maybe, like a Mafia style remake here, because I'm like,
Right.
Not only does it need to look better, it needs to play, at least needs to play like Mass Effect 2 and 3, which would, when you do that, you're completely remaking the level design of each game. Truly,
Mm-hmm.
But I am hopeful, and even as I said, if it's just a remaster, I'll have it. My wife looked at me and told me no, and I said, "You won't tell me what to do." Like,
you don't tell me, woman.
and she goes, "You have it on the Xbox and PS3. I said, and? She goes, you bought Andromeda for PS4. I said, yes, I did. She goes, and you just bought it on Xbox One. I said, for $4. I'm like, my Xbox One collection was lonely over there without a Mass Effect in it.
It needed it. It had to have it.
And I found it used for $4, and I said, there's no reason for me not to leave here with this in my hand. And besides, I do know that if I ever want to replay Andromeda, even though PS4 is where I played it before, and I have that other playthrough there, and I got the deluxe version with some extra stuff. Mm-hmm. The Xbox One version has been Xbox One X enhanced with some better fidelity graphics.
It looks good.
So if I ever want to go back to it, I'm gonna pop that one in and see what that looks like. But we got some other news here to get to before we get out of town. we were talking about Xbox. Xbox had their Inside Xbox at the beginning of May, and with gameplay in air quotes. There wasn't a lot of it. It was a little rough.
Yeah, it's 100% contrary to what you and I have kind of, we've been the vocal cheerleaders of Microsoft the last couple of years with Phil Spencer, with how they've conducted themselves in these events. And I didn't get to see it as it premiered, and I got home and I watched it and I was like, why did I just waste my time watching this?
It was like an hour long, and
yeah, it was a total waste of time.
Pretty much. Unfortunately, there was a few things that looked cool, but it wasn't anything like, hey, this is the first glimpse at Xbox Series X gameplay. And
well, I think part of what makes it so frustrating, especially now in hindsight, is just a couple days ago we had that Unreal Engine 5.
Oh my gosh, that PS5
presentation, yeah,
from Epic. Oh man.
Oh my goodness. Woo! I don't know what that is. Obviously, it's not a game. It's just a
tech demo type thing.
Tech demo. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. But whatever that game could be, I want to play it.
Whew, it looked awesome.
It looked real. It looked real life.
Oh man. So I actually just watched a video today about that and how Epic announced that you will be able to import your Unreal 4 projects into it.
Oh, cool.
And one thing that, because they were talking about like FF7 Remake used Unreal Engine 4. And with Unreal Engine 5, you can actually take film assets and put that into the game, and it looks even. Of course,
wow.
Well, I mean, think about the Square's teams and their CGI teams and how good and ahead of the curve their CGI has always been. Like, that is one thing that Square always gets is their quality CGI. Like, their movie, like they did that Final Fantasy movie in the late 90s. It looked amazing. The movie wasn't that great, but it looked amazing. Advent Children was ahead of its time when it came out. I will say that FF15 was a graphically phenomenal game for all of its cinematics. FF7, you can actually tell a difference in FF7 Remake. They have in-engine stuff and they have cinematic stuff. And you can tell when they turn the cinematics on for like that little bit of extra flair. You're like, ooh, that looks awesome.
Looking crispy.
And crispy. So I heard you can do that, but there was an issue that Square had with Dragon Quest 11, where they made the game on an older version of Unreal 4, and when they went to port it over to the Switch was compatible with a different version of Unreal version 4, and they had compatibility issues within Unreal Engine 4, different versions of that. So it's not going to be just a smooth copy and paste. Now this works because now I started thinking about what FF7 Remake would look like if they had a chance to like do a definitive PS5 version of it. I'm like, I'm buying that.
Goodness.
I guess I'm buying it again, guys.
Right.
But I won't. I'm not gonna be doing that. That'll be crazy to try and get a second platinum for that again. But no, what I will say for Microsoft with this gameplay thing, they did say, okay, guys, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You know what? It wasn't good enough, and that's our bad. We own that. We are doing other events this summer. This was supposed to be just a little bit of a taste, and we overhyped it. We're sorry. We know we realized we should have framed it differently for what we were going to be showing you. However, in July, we're doing a big, huge showcase, like essentially what they would be doing at E3. What I do, I assume, with like a lot of their first-party stuff, including Halo Infinite, will be a big part of that. So,
I think. As kind of stumbly bumbly as the Microsoft gameplay reveal, because the clickbaity headlines on the internet kind of hit the nail on the head. Wasn't much gameplay here, pal.
Yeah.
It was just more cinematic stuff. But what the takeaway is, we've got another potentially really, really good Assassin's Creed game on the horizon. That I don't think any of that thunder should be taken out of away from that, because the last two have been incredible. And then a game that we're going to talk about here real quick looks almost identical to the last two Assassin's Creed games as far as certain elements of gameplay. So Man, what a summer for video games. I know we say this every year. Like, you and I say this. Like, what a holiday season for video games. Like, every quarter it's something great, but that's part of what makes being a fan of video games so awesome is, there's always there's always another peak to climb to.
Yeah.
So,
Um, so that other game that we're talking about is, of course, Ghost of Tsushima, which got a full state of play, 18-minute 4K video of gameplay. We got full gameplay. We got some hints about not really too much characterization, but as you said, there are some elements here that are kind of Assassin's Creedy. This is from Sucker Punch, these guys that did like Infamous, and I believe they did Sly Cooper before that.
I believe so.
So this is a completely different take for them. This game has been in development for years, and it shows. Man, this game looks beautiful.
I just want to turn my PlayStation on and then just let it go to, it focus on like some of the mountain ranges and stuff like that in the background. I just want to do the picturesque thing and then just leave my TV on and stare at it. Not even play it. I just want to look at it.
It looked amazing. And as you said, there's some Assassin's Creed stuff that looked like it belonged, like this Assassin's Creed Japan.
Right.
Which people have been asking for a long time.
Yeah, so I'm not complaining. Good on you, Sony and Sucker Punch. This allowed the fact that you made Ghost of Tsushima made it so we get our Assassin's Creed Japan and our Assassin's Creed Vikings in the same year.
I know.
I mean, what I have nothing to complain about at this point. So thank you.
What I really liked is that they went out of their way to show you the different combat styles that you can do. You can do the little stealthy sneaking around stuff and do that stuff where you can sit up right there. You have different battle stances for your sword and sword play.
Right.
And then the lack of HUD was interesting for just walking around. How you put stuff on the map and it will light up with a little campfire thing in the distance. If you're riding your horse and don't know where to go, a little tuft of wind will kind of guide you.
Yeah, you can hit up or down on the D-pad and let the wind guide you. I thought that was really unique and we always like fresh takes on things. And the waypoint quest line or whatever that you can turn on or off in video games, however you feel about that's irrelevant. The fact that you can hit a button and let the wind guide you, that's incredible.
It's more immersive, where it's not a symbol, just a symbol there, up on my compass, playing Skyrim or something. Okay, over here, my little marker. No, something different. And another thing that I liked is that they have a full Japanese voice cast. You can have that on instead of the English to make it a little more authentic. And I thought that's amazing.
What about the visual style where you can turn on so it looks like an old samurai movie?
Yeah, samurai flick. Oh man.
That got me. I think I'm gonna have to do one playthrough natural as it appears, and then have to do one playthrough Japanese voice acting, with basically the filter on to make it look like the samurai flick. I'm gonna have to.
Oh yeah.
I have no incentive not to. How cool is that?
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at screenshots. I just saw screenshots. Oh man.
But that's let's round of applause for Sucker Punch. Not only the man, what I can't remember what era of Japan of Japan that's called. I always forget, but with with how popular Neo and Sekiro have been the last couple years, when Ghost of Tsushima was first announced, I thought, well, they're just trying to capitalize on kind of the samurai fad in video games, the same the zombie fad in video games for almost 10 years straight. Everything had to be zombie related. But then you look at how long it's been in development, how incredible it looks, and stuff like that. The Japanese voice acting, the changing, the visual style of the game, that is Sucker Punch and Sony going above and beyond to give their fans something that not only they enjoy and feel should be a part of the game, but like that's something that they went out of their way to do for us. They didn't
Yeah.
have to do that, you know.
No, no. And also another thing is that, here's a studio that made a couple of really, some really cool games, different style games. Sly Cooper, the two Infamous games did really well.
Right.
Infamous was not Second Son, I believe it
Second
was
Son and then Last Light.
Last Light. Okay, so those games weren't perceived as well as the first two. Last Light got better reviews than the base game. But instead of going back to something that they have done to try and we're going to do this right thing, we're like, no, we're taking a left turn to Albuquerque here, and we're going to Japan, and we're going to do something that we want to do that is completely different. And I can understand why Sony would be all about that, especially I can just see a lot of these higher ups at Sony that are seeing this game in development going, wow, this is going to be something. When you guys get this and then this comes out, this is going to okay, so this game was very mysterious for almost as mysterious as Death Stranding, but with Death Stranding, we got a lot of stuff from it. We just didn't know what the hell was going on.
Didn't have a clue.
Still don't really, and the game's out. You said you're gonna
$28.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that I still don't own it yet, and I'm thinking, maybe Black Friday it'll go on sale for like $20. I'll grab it, and then I'm gonna be in for a ride because I don't know what's going on. But this game was secretive. We didn't get a whole lot of info, and at E3 not last year, maybe the year before, we actually got our first taste of it. And I'm like, oh, this is okay. This is different. Okay, all right, cool. And there was some intrigue. Some people really into it. Some people weren't. But I have heard nothing but good things from this gameplay reveal from State of Play yesterday. And there are a lot of people who were on the fence or I don't know. And now they're like, yep, I'm getting it.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Especially in the last 5 years, how many times have we seen game like a State of Play like this and no one complains?
Oh, I know.
Normally there is always someone complaining, and I've been through YouTube chat, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I've been on every form of social media today, interacting with Ghost of Tsushima somehow, and I've not seen one complaint.
Nope.
That speaks volumes.
I know. Oh, I know. And, the fact that this is on the PS4 and it looks like that is it's just a hint of what we're going to see coming forward with the PS5.
Do you think we'll get a a definitive edition with the way that they did The Last of Us Part 1 on PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, the remaster? Do you think we'll get Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima that same way?
Well, I know that for Xbox, they're announcing an initiative to where if you buy the game on Xbox, whether or not you have an Xbox One S, X, or Series X, you only have to buy it once. And the capability of the machine that you're playing it on will depend what level of graphic fidelity that you're getting. Now, obviously, that's not going to be every game. There's going to be games that are just on Series X and only just for One X or whatever, right?
Right.
But for a lot of the Microsoft developed games, they're making it to where they're pushing it. Same, do that. For Sony, that's not 1-to-1 from what I understand. There are going to be I know that Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red has said when you buy the game on PS4 or Xbox One, you're not going to have to buy the PS5 version or Xbox One X, Series X. There's going to be an update that when this game is backwards compatible, it's going to take advantage of those new capabilities. And so
Gotcha.
that's good. We might see something like this. And from what I understand, that's probably going to be on a per title basis. But I also know that the PS5 is going to be emulating PS4 and PS4 Pro. So I'm not sure how they're going to do that either as far as trying to get more out of those games. If they're able to take what we've already seen from Ghost of Tsushima and bump it up to full 60, 4K with HDR ray tracing, and it's going to blow what we've already seen out of the water.
Right.
It's going to be crazy. But as far as I don't know. I hope so. I honestly am ready to get an actual reveal for PS5, which I've heard the rumor is. So report comes from VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb, who claims not only is Sony going to reveal the console what it looks like on June 4th, but it's going to be accompanied by games, lots of them. Unfortunately, that's where the details dry up. There's another leak that came out weeks before that said, hey, these are some of the games that could be a part of Sony's big console reveal, right? And I got a list of those right here if you're ready. I'm not sold on all of these, and I guarantee you some of these are not going to be like full, this game is ready to come out in holiday, or this is going to be just an announcement for a lot of these. But
I'm
this
ready.
one, but here we go. A new Ratchet and Clank, which
See that one, I've heard a lot of rumors the last couple weeks about that, and I think that's a very smart move from Sony.
yep, there's a couple of remakes or redos here, because the next one is one too. SOCOM reboot.
That's smart too.
That series has been quiet for a long time. Another one that's a reboot, Silent Hill reboot. There's been a lot of rumors going around about them trying to work with Konami, and
They
even
wanna-
trying to get something going on with that. Another remake, Ape Escape.
Eh.
I think it's cool because it goes all the way back to the PS1, and it was
Yeah.
it's a series that's kind of a sleeper. What could you do with it in a current generation thing with it? I think it'd be cool, other than catching apes with nets.
Right. I didn't think about it that way. That's a good way to think about it, I guess.
Demon Souls remake.
I'm interested there.
Yeah, that's why I said it. New Gran Turismo. That's a kind of a given. I kind of thought we would see that. And these other ones are also givens too. Spider-Man 2, Horizon Zero Dawn 2,
Yeah.
God of War 2.
I mean, those are what the plants crave, and we're the plants, and I'm craving it. So, give me those.
There's also a couple other games, third-party games. A new Batman game from WB Montreal. That's been rumored, and they've been quiet about it for years at this point. A new Rocksteady game, same kind of. I don't know if they're doing a Batman, if they're doing something else, whatever they're doing. Resident Evil 8. Now, there's been a lot of rumors going on about this too. That
Right.
story plots and all that stuff. New Prince of Persia.
That one I'm pumped for because I love that franchise.
It's a series that kind of like it just petered out, man. Like it was so great, and then it just stopped being great.
Well, they hit their peak with Warrior Within.
Yes.
And then fuck, whatever the last one was called, Prince of Persia 2 something.
Prince of Persia. Fuck.
I can't remember. It was 2 something. I can't remember. But that game was also fantastic. Story was fantastic. It at the end of it buttoned everything up, and I think Ubisoft really struggled because it's like, okay, well, we finished the story of the prince, like we don't really have anything anymore, and then that's why it ultimately failed.
Another one, Elden Ring.
That's Miyazaki. I mean, if you're a Dark Souls fan, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, like you want to know what the hell's going on with Elden Ring, especially because it's got the George R.R. Martin involvement. Like, what the hell's going on?
Right.
Starfield. Death
Starfield.
Stranding 2.0.
Yep.
Yep.
Starfield.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. With Starfield, though, I don't know. Like, we keep every year thinking that we're going to see something from Starfield. And then there was the one year where Bethesda had the logo. We're like, oh my God, we're going to see something. They're like, we're working on it. Far Cry 6. Hitman 3. Which I did play the first of the newer Hitmans that have come out. And I actually really liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, everybody I've talked to says they're great. I just haven't really.
You know what? There are, I don't want to say an acquired taste. You have to like slow and steady, methodical. Like that's what I like about it. Like I got to kill this guy, and there's like 4 different ways that you can go about it. And if you just run in there killing everybody and get out, you can do that. But that's not. I mean, it's more fun to try and find a way to poison them, or I remember there was one in one of the games. I don't remember which one, but it was at a theater, and they were doing like a dress rehearsal, and there was a whole scene where he was going to have a fake gun, and you could go in and switch the fake gun for a real one, and he would be shot on stage while you're just walking out of the building.
That's cool.
And that's just one of the ways that you could just wait till he's back there in his dressing room, and you could choke him out, and then he'll be found eventually, and then you have to try and escape before they're trying to hunt for somebody suspicious. Saints Row 5, okay, fine. Dragon Age 4 could be announced, or could be.
Please.
It has been announced already. We know that they're doing it, but it would be the first glimpse of like anything from it other than like the logo.
Please.
So that's about all I got for today, man. There's been a lot of stuff going on, a lot of rumors, a lot, we got concrete. Ghost of Tsushima was fantastic. Assassin's Creed Valhalla looked awesome.
Yeah, it looks great.
That announcement trailer for that, I popped so hard when he was about to be killed and he did the hidden blade thing. I'm like, oh, yeah. yes. And it's like, as you said, we now live in a world where we technically get like an Assassin's Creed style Japan, which we've wanted forever, and it makes sense. And so because it makes sense, they're like, yeah, that's too easy. We're not going to go over there and do that right now, because it's like, yeah, that's just like a duh. It's like Assassin's Creed Ninja. They're like, well, yeah, that's kind of what it is, isn't it?
You got me there.
So it's like, for here, it's like, no, we get the samurai game, and when we get this, this Viking game that looks like it's going to be both awesome, tactical, stealthy, and brutal, and that's going to be awesome. I don't really have a lot of news for it. But they did announce the new Paper Mario or Origami.
Yeah,
and
it looked cool.
Yeah, it looked fun. It looked cool. I really liked the graphical style. I thought it looked like the way that they did the origami. It reminded me a lot of when Sony did Tearaway and how good that game looked for the paper graphics. This one looks like even like next level of that. But that comes out the same day as Ghost of Tsushima. So your Nintendo fans get a game and your PlayStation fans get a game on that day.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to get into the fall. Of course, with everything in the world being what it is, they are still planning on releasing the consoles around holiday. They are not willing to say that they're not doing that, but I guarantee you numbers probably will be on a more limited scale. And of course, we have to wait and see what the economy is going to be like when we get there, because who's to say we're not going to get round 2 of global pandemic? It's definitely possible, especially as we start opening things back up to try and get things rolling again. It's like, it's definitely plausible, that more people are going to unfortunately get sick and have to deal with it. And of course, now they got this thing with the kids, dude.
Right.
Oh my gosh. There's a new COVID-related inflammatory issue with kids, and thankfully, there's only been like 1 death so far. But that's one, even if it was like 1 or 2, it's still more.
It's too many.
It's too many. It's more than what we need. We don't need kids that are just like going to be happy-go-lucky. Like, that scares me half to death to know that my kid could be happy, fine, and then the next thing I know, he's in the hospital on a ventilator, and I can't go in there, and he's scared to death. And they're going to have to sedate him because he's not going to want to be laying there, because he can. I can't even get him to sit and time out like for 5 minutes because he got in trouble. He's sitting in his room. Okay, really quick before we get out of here, this last thing I'm gonna say. My kid did something, and I made him go sit in his bed and not move. And I saw him sitting there because I was getting stuff set up for the show, and I walked back out, and he was still sitting on his bed with his hat on, which told me he got up and went and got his hat and sat down. And so I said, you earned yourself another couple minutes of time out. You're not supposed to stand up. I told you to sit there. Give me your hat. And he gave me his hat and this one toy that he went and got. And I'm sitting there talking to him, and I said, when I tell you to sit here and time out, that means you don't move. He's looking at the floor, slowly trying to inch his foot over to mine so he could touch it. What? What? And I'm just like, stop trying to touch my foot. I'm trying to be stern with you.
But Dad.
And no, I mean, he cannot sit still. So like, if he's going to be, that image would kill me. Like, so like I'm going back to work, and I know you've been working and out there, but it truly frightens me to know that there's a McDonald's down the road from us.
Yep.
Closed down due to COVID and their COVID cases there. To know that I could go back to work and be around people that could be fine, but more that we start getting around people and you're around other people now we're getting sick, and
Right.
I can't bring that home.
Yeah, it's a scary time. I mean, because what do? You get we're stuck behind a rock and a hard place. We can't, as much as I hate to say it, we can't quarantine forever.
No.
We just physically can't. Being separated from society is weakening our immune systems. Um, because we're not interacting with other human beings that we don't interact with regularly.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it is a perfect storm of it's a perfect disaster because you're damned if you do one thing and you're damned if you do another, and you're constantly putting other people at risk. You know, no matter what. So it's tough. You know, I'm right there with you.
I know we just got to be as careful and as safe as we
Hmm.
can. And same to you guys out there. Be safe and stay healthy, and do the right thing and thinking about us because it is about us. We need to look out for each other and each other's
Right.
neighbors and each other's families because that's the only way that we're going to get through this. I've seen a lot of things out there, and a lot of news is disturbing to me. To me, this isn't political. I'm not trying to be political. I'm just trying to
Hmm.
be safe. I want my family to be safe. I want Tyler's family to be safe. I want your family to be safe. And to do that, we can't be casual about. We
Right.
need to, we need to be steadfast. We need to be careful. And as Tyler said, it doesn't mean that everything has to stop. It can't. For we already did to try and limit as much unfortunate death as we could, but it can't go on forever. We have to reopen some stuff and get stuff going.
Right.
But we got to be thoughtful. We got to be careful. And please, guys, stay safe and be careful. Tyler, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking with me about some video games. It's been a great time to sit here and get away from the world out there, and even as I said before at the top of the show, my world up here. It's
Hmm.
been quite the emotional roller coaster, and I just thank you so much for sitting down with me. It's been a blast.
Well, thanks for always giving me a good conversation when it comes to video games and allowing me to come back. You know, uh, there's times where I'm the old man shaking my fist at the cloud, and you always welcome me back. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, you're one of my best friends, and I mean that.
Thank you. You too.
Your support has meant the world to me during this time, and I really appreciate you. And you always have a place here with me here on the
Thank
show
you.
to do whenever we can. Whenever we can get together and talk about some video games, we most definitely shall do so. And I hope you all out there have enjoyed this episode as well. And as I said before about taking a break, maybe the break for me doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be weeks before you hear from me. Maybe there won't be a new episode every week because it's got to be. I've got to find the right get up and go. I have to force myself to do it, and
Hmm.
I'm not saying that I have to force myself to do a podcast. I have to force myself to be in the right mindset. It's like
Right.
that's different, because when you're sitting there and you've been grieving and you feel sad, or you don't feel the up to want to sit down in front of a microphone, in front of a camera, and just kind of let yourself go and be yourself and do all that. And that's challenging for me sometimes. To put on that, it's not a mask, but to just drive
To
myself
detach.
to kind of detach and leave that here for now, and let's talk about something that I really want to talk about, and something that I am really passionate about, where I can leave those emotions over here and I could come back to it in a little bit. But it's just like it is a perfect distraction for me sometimes. But
Hmm.
other times it's a matter of I sometimes I can't pick up that sword and shield. It's like I gotta get rolling, and so sometimes I can keep myself rolling and keep myself going pretty good, but other times I'm just like, you know,
It's tough.
between
It's
life
definitely tough.
between life and kids, and I'm going back to work and everything. It's going to be a new normal for sure. But once again, thank you, Tyler, thank you all. You can check out the Game X podcast on all the podcasting services that are out there: Apple, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, all that stuff. YouTube is your one-stop shop for everything that we do, including gameplay. The entire FF7 remake run is there. I'm slogging my way through Mass Effect 2. Once I can get back here to do some more episodes of that, I certainly will. I have a couple, one more in the tank, I think, to go up before I'm gonna try and get back here and do some more, so I can finish up that run. Tyler, you co-host the Journey into Comics podcast. We're all,
I do.
and they can find you everywhere, that podcast everywhere that I just said, at Journey into Comics Network. And of course, I also co-host the OGs over there as well. And we
Great
started
show.
that back up. Thank you. We try to just loosen up and just let's not be topical. Let's not talk about anything that's really going on. And let's just tell stories and make each other laugh. That's really that entire podcast is what
It's
what
just
that's
fun. That's why I like listening
Oh my
to it. It's just
gosh.
fun.
So, spoiler alert, this is a few weeks out, but we're actually going to be doing an episode of that tomorrow night. So it's going to be my second
Awesome.
podcast back. And but it'll be my second podcast back released in a few weeks. But if there's anything that that's going to be a spoiler about what we're going to talk about in 3 weeks, it's going to release the week before Father's Day. So
Awesome.
definitely stay tuned for that over there. As I said, Journey to the Comics Network, all the podcasting places, Apple, Spotify, Podbean, all that great stuff. Social medias and all that great stuff too for each plugs. I'm out of practice and doing my plugs. So
Plugs are hard, man. I'm not good at plugs. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you plugged Journey into Comics because it was going to take me like 15 minutes to do it.
Well, you know what? Hey, it is what it is. That's a
It's
great
tough,
show.
man.
It's a great show. Me and you did an episode of that. 294. It's a great
We did.
episode that we did where we didn't even acknowledge the inside joke for that episode. So
Docking Bay 294. We didn't.
we didn't even do.
We could have made that joke, but we didn't.
We didn't. Man, we didn't. Anyway, guys, until next time, I have been Brando.
And I've been Tyler.
We'll see you guys later. Have a good one, and game on.